I'm just going to make this as short as possible because, quite frankly, I can't be bothered with this movie longer than I have to. Mixed nuts. This movie is awful. I'd even go so far as to say it's one of the worst movies I have ever seen. I'm not being hyperbolic. I am deadly serious. Why? Not only is it just plain unfunny, at parts it is downright offensive. Offensive to a few groups, quite frankly. But in general, it's just offensive to anyone with two functioning eyes, two functioning ears, and a working brain. This movie was written and directed by Nora Ephron. If that name sounds familiar to you, Sleepless in Seattle, Julie and Julia, and You've Got Mail should come to mind. This movie is not in the same ballpark as those movies whatsoever. It's about Steve Martin, who runs one of those suicide prevention hotlines called Lifesavers, the logo of which is a life preserver which says Lifesavers on it. I'm sure the people who make the Lifesavers candy had a field day with their legal department, but quite frankly, that's the least of this movie's problems. Like with Trapped in Paradise, this movie commits the one sin of comedy. It's just not funny. Somehow, Trapped in Paradise, even though it's an hour 45, that felt shorter than watching Mixed Nuts. And it all really boils down to the fact that there is not a single likable character in this movie whatsoever. Steve Martin's character is just somebody who isn't really that good with people, even though he runs a suicide prevention hotline. His employees are not really that good either. There's this couple, one of whom is played by Juliette Lewis of Cape Fear fame, the remake, who is pregnant. They fight all the time, and basically she kicks the husband out, and the husband spends the entire movie trying to get back into her life. And it's about as humorous as a stubbed toe. And then there's Liev Schreiber. Liev Schreiber plays a transgender character. The entire brunt of the jokes around this character revolve around the fact that this character is transgender. Yeah, it's about as funny as a heart attack. And really, what it boils down to is the fact that it's not really it is offensive, yes, but it's just the fact that the jokes revolve around that this character is transgender. This would never happen today. This came out in 1994, so it was a different time. But man, I was so uncomfortable watching this go down. It made me uneasy watching it. And I'm sure there will be some who be like, oh, well, you're going to say it's problematic. Yeah, it is kind of problematic low key because this character is transgender and the jokes revolve around the fact that this character is transgender. There's no nuance, there's no subtext. Literally, the first scene that this character is introduced, this character walks into a room where their family's celebrating Christmas, and I assume the character's father is like, hey, Arnold Schwarzenegger, sit down, trim the tree with us. And the character's like, you know I hate it when you call me that. What happens next? The entire room chants Arnold, Arnold, Arnold at this character. What do I even say? Nora Ephron wrote that. Nora Ephron wrote that. Honestly, I just want to get out of here. Just play the Roger Ebert clip.
And I quote, I hated this movie. Hated, 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 hated this movie. Hated it. Hated every simpering, stupid, vacant, audience-insulting moment of it. Unquote.